Hello, Aries. Welcome to your June 2020 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Aries. And before we get started, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and leave me a comment if anything resonates with you. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Onyx Healing, or go to my website to check out more of my amazing content. And these readings are going to be smaller this month than I normally do. I'm not doing a timeline this month. I'm just shrinking them down. I need to conserve some of my energy right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I hope you enjoy. We will be back to normal next month with the whole shebang that I normally do. So thank you for bearing with me while I do this. I'm going to lay this spread out and then we will get started. Okay, let's start with your oracle cards for June. Knowledge, seek knowledge. So classes would be really great, or any type of information where you're building, you're learning, you're growing, so there's something here about consumption that is actually important. Now, let me just remind you, crown chakra ownership is really important, right? Being able to take what you want, toss out the rest. Don't forget that part where you're discerning truth and a lie for yourself. That's the one key piece here that's going to make that a much easier process for you. And even if the information or the wisdom that you're consuming is wrong, you being able to discern that for yourself is a valuable skill. So it's like there's actually a call to consume wisdom, information. So keep all of that in mind. You might be like seeking out teachers or mentors or some body of work or information this month. So it's interesting to see how that might show up for you. Notice all of the prayers in your life that have been answered. Okay, so if you are focusing on need, this is a call to really lean into what you have created, what you have made happen, what you already have. How many times has God had your back? You know, what have you been able to achieve up to this point? What have you overcome? Remind yourself of that data. Usually we're in the habit of focusing on all the things that could potentially go wrong because we're trying to protect ourselves and blah, 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 normal human being things. But this is really emphasizing you need focus on forward movement. Just because something happened in the past does not mean it's an indication of what's going to happen in the future. You're only experiencing that in your mind. So you want to give your mind more positive data as much as you possibly can to counter that. And then we have genius. Acknowledge the kindness of your muses. Create time and space for flow. Release your pressure to perform. It's not all up to you. I'm not going to read into this card. It's whatever you heard, however you heard it. That's it. Like, that's exactly what you needed to hear. So let's start with the central energy for you this month. 8 of Coins. So you're building, you're doing work on something. Is it internal? Is it external? Is it mindset? Is it an actual project that you're building? Are you creating something? Are you just putting in effort to heal, repair something? You know, this can be abstract, even though it represents the material world and the 3D, the physical. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to that. So it's whatever you're working on or whatever you're working toward. I'm getting that that's where the growth is happening. So you're really putting pen to paper this month and like laying the concrete, doing the damn things. And that might actually be where the knowledge, the important element of the information that you need in order to build, that's what's coming through here. What you have shifting out is the 2 of Swords. This is blindness or not knowing, feeling like you're walking in and you're turning a blind corner. That is what's moving out. I think you have a clear trajectory by the time June comes. So if you're already watching this in June, then you're already in the midst of it. Otherwise, you might be watching this in May, in which case anticipate having clarity by June, like, oh, this is the action that I need to take. Because the Eight of Pentacles is action. It's very action oriented. It's actually moving 3D, moving matter. And that's what you're doing in the month of June. The oncoming energy is the Five of Wands. This is friction, troubleshooting, adjusting. I'm sure if you've been on my channel long enough, you know this is my favorite card. So I like seeing this because it's showing you that you're growing, and that this is something that you would expect to see after the Eight of Coins, right? After this, energetically, it would make sense that you would move into troubleshooting mode and seeing, okay, what adjustments do I need to make, or what do I need to repair or fix, or how do I need to tweak this? That's the energy that I'm getting here. I'm going to clarify this. I don't want this deck. Seven of Knives. Okay, so you might be dealing with some clutter. Yep, you might be dealing with just an overload of energy, and that's where the friction is coming in. This is kind of like a call to edit, cut things out, refine, really narrow things down. So the problem, even though I don't even like calling it that, because I don't think this is something that has to be challenging and laborious, I don't look at the Five of Wands that way. The Five of Wands is we're gaining traction and moving towards the desire itself, but in order to move into that and embody that fully, we need to make some adjustments. That's it. And the Seven of Knives is just indicating that there's some things that you're going to want to set aside, that you're going to want to put on the back burner, or that you're going to want to step away from. You know, sometimes this is like a sneaky energy. That's actually not what I'm getting in this reading. That's not my hit. That's not my read. My intuition is just screaming that this has to do with stepping away from what doesn't work and shedding that skin. So there's a little bit of that happening as you're building whatever this is, like you're sculpting something out. And then what you need to know about June is the Knight of Swords. So there's innovation that's happening. It's like you're being called to a higher standard. You're pursuing something bigger and more innovative. Like that's the key word, is innovation, because there's a lot of air here. And that's telling me it's downloads, it's ahas, it's, oh, now I know what to do. Oh, this is a really good idea. It's just going to organically feel right. You're going to know it in your bones. That's the Knight of Swords. And the downloads that you get, when I'm saying you're going to feel it in your bones, it's just going to feel very natural, is the main thing. Like, oh, this is the simple or right solution. This simply makes sense. It's not that complicated. And so when you get into that state, it's going to become easier to build and take action because it's just so clear. That's kind of the name of the game for you this month. And don't be afraid to like recruit help or seek out wisdom or seek out knowledge. Read a book on it. Like don't be afraid to look into it. Is what I'm getting, because you might actually want a little bit of help this month. And then, okay, so instead of a 3-card pick, I'm just going to pull one, but you're welcome to ask a question, ask for guidance, clarity, whatever you're needing. And I'm just going to pull the one. So pause the video if you need more time to tune in. 9 of Pentacles. What puts you in a state of like, life can't get any better than this? Oh, this feels so good. This is so enjoyable. This is so pleasurable. I can't believe this is the life that I get to live. And of course, there are circumstances that make that hard, right? Tapping into this is not necessarily easy, but I think for many of you who are watching, consider that is kind of the bliss point that you want to get into in order to cultivate more of whatever you desire. It's like following the desire, that's your North Star, and then getting into a blissed out state of how can life get better? This is so good. How can it get better? How can it get better? How can it get better? Because you're already so full of pleasure, gratitude, and the desire itself. So that's kind of the solution here, is to bliss out in the present moment. You know, focus on how good things truly are. And it's like you need to find your way back into that and marinate in that as often as you can. And remind yourself, you know, this doesn't mean that it's going to be a 24-hour-a-day experience. You know, we have different flows and rhythms all the time, but this is just a big flag reminding you, get back into this energetically speaking, and do it over and over and over again. Make it a practice. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I really appreciate your being here. And just so you know, I do have a tarot class that will be launching soon. So if you would like an update on that, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description box below. And you get a free Dealing with Family meditation when you sign up, along with weekly readings from me. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one or find out more ways to work with me, make sure that you head over to onyxhealing.com. Check me out on Instagram at onyxhealing. And if you would like to know which decks I used in this month's reading, make sure that you check out the description box as well. They are all listed out for you. And make sure you subscribe and leave a thumbs up and a comment if anything resonates. And I will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.